Hey musicians, we're going to practice strengthening our fingers on our fretting hand. So, in order to do that, we got to make sure we have a nice C shape in our fretting hand. That's the hand that goes onto the strings and changing the strings pitch like this. So what you're going to do first, create that C, and you're going to slip it around the neck of your guitar. Place all 4 fingers down at the same time, and you're going to squeeze, then release. Squeeze, then release. Squeeze, then release. Squeeze, then release. Let's go on to the next string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Next string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Now 4th string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Now we're going to do that while strumming our string at the same time. Make sure that your fretting hand and your strumming thumb are on the same string. Otherwise, it might not change pitch. Alright? So we're going to start with our thumb making a downward brushing motion on a steady beat like this. Steady beat. Then your fretting hand is going to do the squeeze and release motion. And ready, go. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Next string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. 3rd string. Squeeze, release, and squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Now 4th string. And squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Ready for the next level? Now instead of using 4 fingers, we're going to use just 3. Your index, middle, and ring finger. Same thing, here we go. So start with a steady beat, strumming downwards. 1, 2, and here we go. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. 2nd string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. 3rd string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. 4th string. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Okay, continue that with your 2nd and just your 1st fingers as well. Here we go. So 2nd fingers and your 1st fingers only. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Squeeze, release. 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 Are we keeping our C shape with our hands? Alright, now for the final level, we're going to use just 1 finger. Ready? 1, 2, here we go. Squeeze, release. 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 Nice job! Happy practicing! Yeah!